Let's begin this morning with fears for the health of Pope Francis after the Vatican announced on Saturday he is in critical condition. NBC's Ann Thompson is at the Vatican for us. Ann, what's the latest?
Good morning, Willie. You know, this is a beautiful Sunday here at the Vatican, but it's certainly no typical Sunday. Pope Francis was supposed to celebrate Mass and ordain hundreds of deacons at St. Peter's Basilica, but that did not happen. He remains hospitalized. Vatican officials tell us that he had a peaceful night, that he rested. And this morning we understand that he is still using those nasal cannulas to get what are called high flows of oxygen to help him breathe. Now, this comes after a respiratory crisis, a prolonged respiratory crisis happened yesterday that necessitated those high flows of oxygen and the discovery that the Pope had low blood platelets associated with anemia that made those blood transfusions necessary. As you said, Pope Francis' condition yesterday was described as critical. We've had no update on that today. We should get some more information this morning, now, or this evening. Now, along with missing Mass, Pope Francis also did not deliver his weekly Sunday address called the Angelus. However, he did write a letter to the faithful, and in it he said he's carrying on with his treatment and that rest is part of that therapy. He also thanked all the doctors and health workers who are taking such good care of him. Now, here at St. Peter's and throughout the globe, there are prayers going up for Pope Francis today. As one archbishop put it, they are praying for God to assist him in this time of his trial and illness. Willie?
As you say, prayers around the world for the Pope this morning. Ann Thompson at the Vatican for us. Ann, thank you. Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Dr. Azar, good to see you this morning. So with the usual caveats that you, of course, are not treating the Pope and you don't have specific knowledge of his case, based on what we've heard publicly, that there's a respiratory crisis, that he is critical, those are the Vatican's words, putting together everything you've heard, how serious is this?
Well, you know, Willie, of course, we take pneumonia seriously at any age, no matter who you are. But there are a few features about the Pope that make the situation potentially more dangerous or more critical. And that is his age. He's 88 years old. And we know that he has underlying lung conditions. In fact, he had part of his lung resected actually as a young adult. So there's already a little compromised lung function, if you will. And yes, the issue yesterday, the fact that he required the high flow oxygen, which is basically delivering oxygen at high pressures, not only giving you oxygen, but also helping with the work of breathing, suggests that the infection in the lung, the pneumonia that he has, was really quite serious. That, and as Ann mentioned, Willie, the fact that his platelets were dropping in and that he became anemia. You know, when you're in sort of this pre-critical or critical situation, we don't like to see those numbers changing like that.
And when you hear blood transfusions, Dr. Azar, that obviously raises concerns about a potential blood infection. What did you hear in that news?
Right. And so, again, you know, just to, of course, to reiterate that we're not privy to his actual medical records. But when you're sick, you know, in an ICU or in the hospital with an infection, one of the biggest concerns that we always have is that the infection could actually enter the bloodstream. And when that happens, your body, of course, is going to mount a very robust inflammatory response to that infection. That's something called sepsis. They have not used that word, but when we see those numbers, platelets starting to drop, becoming anemic, you know, that's one thing that they're going to be watching very, very carefully for, making sure that his organ function stays stable, certainly that his vital signs, Willie, stay stable, his blood pressure and whatnot. Of course, he's going to be getting the best care around the clock, and I'm sure he's getting all of the appropriate interventions, and we wish him the best.
And as you say, a very delicate situation for any 88-year-old. Dr. Natalie Azar. Natalie, thanks so much. Good to see you this morning.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.